Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Starting today's video in the exact same outfit as last video, just with my glasses on, as if I have not filmed these on the exact same day, back to back. But that's beside the point. They're not being uploaded on the same day, so it doesn't matter. So this video is going to be the next installment in my cut crease series. Last video we did that sort of faking the cut crease type of a look. Today we're going to be doing an actual cut crease. Look at you, improving and leveling up. Level up, 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 level up. So concealer wand at the ready? Let's begin. Don't be afraid, we don't actually need that much concealer. I was just being dramatic. Okay, so I'm starting with my eyelids primed with concealer unset this time. Thought I'd be switching it up. And we're going for a little bit more of a glam, sort of dramatic look today, so we're gonna put a little bit of tape on the outer corners so we get that nice edge. Angle this correctly. Do they? No. Oh, that does not match at all. One of these wings was about to be up here and the other one was about to be down there. God damn. So I said we were going a little bit more glam and dramatic today, which for me means like full rainbows and glitter and everything, but I understand that it was harsh of me to do that in my rainbow cut crease video, so we're going more glam but keeping it sort of neutral. So the first shade we're going to go in with is this shade, Makeup and Chill. This is the Too Faced Power of Makeup palette. If you don't have this palette, because they don't make this anymore, you could just use any sort of like neutral toned brown eyeshadow. I'm just taking that on a really fluffy brush, and that is going straight in the crease as our transition. So I just blended out the edges of that shade with a clean fluffy brush, and the next shade I'm going to go into is Not Today from NYX. It's just a really warm toned like terracotta kind of brown to add some warmth. Make sure that you are really concentrating the eyeshadow on that inner part and not ignoring it to focus on the outer corner, because you want to make sure you have something to actually cut, because if you're putting concealer against skin that has no eyeshadow that's sort of deepening it up, there's going to be no contrast and the cut crease effect is just not going to be the same. So next I'm taking the dark matte eyeshadow from the Beauty Crop Lovely So Latte Trio, and I'm focusing most of it on the flat side of the brush, putting a tiny bit of it on the edge, and then I'm going to take that flat side and pat the pigment on the outer V of the eye. I'm going to bring it quite far in just so that, like I said, you have something to sort of cut out. And when I'm happy with that, I'm going to take whatever's left on the brush and sort of drag it into the crease. Again, focusing on that inner corner to really add the definition there, so you get that contrast, that nice sharp line between the concealer and the eyeshadow. And you gotta blend, blend, blend the crease. You gotta blend, 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 blend out that crease. Don't you know about the blend? Everybody knows about the blend. You gotta blend, blend, blend that crease. You gotta blend, blend, blend. Right, time to cut the crease. This is gonna be sort of like a nude cut crease look, in the sense that we're gonna cut the crease with the concealer and sort of leave it that color. We're not gonna like pack a different color on top of it. So when I'm doing looks like that, I like to use a concealer that's really lighter than my skin tone. So even though the one I've used like under my eyes and to prime my eyelids is slightly lighter than my skin to sort of highlight, I'm gonna take an even lighter shade, just because I feel like you get more of that definition. The juxtaposition between that lighter color and the darkness of the crease is more effective in my opinion. And sometimes I feel like when I use the same concealer that I use, for example, under my eye, and then I go to set it on my eyelid, because there isn't as much contrast, it can sort of look a little bit dull. So I'm using a lighter shade. This shade is CW07 from NYX. It's only a shade lighter than I use. Normally under my eye I'll use CW08, so it's not like a really dramatic contrast. It just makes it slightly lighter. I'm just taking some of that on the back of my hand. And this personally is my favourite brush for cutting the crease. This is the brush that comes with the Maybelline gel liner. I don't really like it for liner because it has that rounded edge, which to me for doing a wing is a strange shape. But for cutting the crease, it's perfect if you want that sort of rounded shape. And then it has that sponge on the end, so you can go straight in with your powder and set it straight away so that it doesn't crease. I'm going into the concealer on my hand, both sides of the brush, making sure it's really coated. And then as I sort of wipe off the excess, I'm pressing the brush down to flatten it to make sure it has a really nice sharp edge and there aren't like blobs of product on there, otherwise you're not going to get that sharp line. So starting by my inner corner, I'm just going to trace a rough line sort of here, open my eye and see if I can see it while my eyes open, and I can. So I like the direction that this is going in, so I'm going to continue it, following the natural shape of my crease, but going slightly above. Oh my god, you have no idea how hard this is to do while talking. Checking again, see how you can see it slightly above the crease. This does actually go quite high for normally what I would go for, but obviously because I was talking, my concentration was not at an optimum. But the shape is correct because it does follow the natural shape of my eye. So I'm just going to fill that in, perfecting any edges that I think are a bit wonky. I think this is okay. You also want to make sure that when you're doing this, you're not putting too much concealer on the eyelid, because then it just gets chunky and it's not smooth and it doesn't look cute. So definitely with this, less is more. Once I'm happy with that shape, I'm going to put the brush back on the inner corner even, and extend it down around that tear duct area, and then blend it out down here. I feel like having an sort of open inner tear duct there just really opens up the eye. Optional, of course, is just something that I like, and then you would obviously blend this out because that's ridiculous. I also want to say it does kind of help to tilt your head back and have the mirror slightly under you so that you can have your eyelid really stretched out while you're doing it, and you can see the full shape that you're creating. So now both my creases are done. I'm just going to flip the brush over to the sponge side and go in with the shade Chocolate Soleil from that same Too Faced palette, which is actually a bronzer, but that ain't bronzing shit for me. But it's a nice skin tone-ish shade. If you didn't have a shade like this, it would be perfectly acceptable to use your face powder, because you know that works for your face. So as you can see, because I haven't blended this one out straight, set this one straight away, it has started to crease a little bit. So before I go in and set it, I want to make sure that that line is blended out, because you don't want to set in a crease. That's just not cute. So now I've blended out the line. Go, 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 go. Set it. Set it and forget it. Going back in with my dark brown shade now on that same blending brush. I'm just going to go over the edge here to blend these together. And then just to add a little bit of dimension to the lid, I am just going to add some of the gold from that right on the center of the lid over that seam. I think it's nice to do it this way because then the shimmer is not like bam in your face all over the lid, but it's sort of, as you turn your head, it kind of catches the light, gives it a sort of wet look. I think it just adds a little bit of interest. Okay, so now we are going to add some liner, in case you were still wondering why we were doing all the work on the lid and this tape was still here. We're going to add a nice wing. I'm actually going to do it in brown though, not in black, because I feel like not only is a black liner like been seen 100,000 times, I think it also can be quite harsh. And with a look like this, even though you're sort of going for that kind of glam look, with so much brown, I think a brown liner does just well, not really add, but sort of keep that little bit of softness about it. So I'm going into the Maybelline gel liner in brown, this time with an angled brush, but using the same technique as I was with the concealer. So as I go into it, I'm coating the brush on both sides. I don't know if I'm not really showing this very well, but sort of sliding the brush down so that it's flattening it out, so then I don't get too chunky a wing and the line is nice and sharp. So I'm going to start at the outer corner here, sort of decide how far I want my wing to start. I'm thinking maybe like here, and go from the edge of the tape and drag it back onto the lid. And basically most of your wing is done, because once you fill it in onto the tape, it's done half of the work. And there's your wing, done. All you need to do now is just use the rest of whatever's on the brush and bring that into the inner corner. And how long did that take? 3 seconds? I think that's another thing about using brown eyeliner as opposed to black, is that it's just a little bit more forgiving, because black offers such a high contrast to literally any color that you put it over. Any mistake that you make is instantly going to be seen. Whereas if you're doing a majority brown look and then you put a brown liner, you make like slight subtle mistakes. So like, see, I'm doing here, the lines that are going into my inner corner here, far from perfect. They're not perfectly sharp, they're a little bit thick, but because it's brown and it sort of blends into everything else, it's not as noticeable and you can kind of get away with it. Peel porn. Oh, that was satisfying. So I'm now just running that dark brown shade underneath my lower lash line. I'm not smoking it out too far. I'm also not bringing it all the way into that inner corner because I want to maintain that open eye effect. So I'm just sort of bringing it kind of halfway. So you could very well leave the look there, add your mascara, add your lashes, out the door, done, and you have this stunning neutral tone, dramatic, glam cut crease look. But I just want to take it a tiny step further. I'm going to take this blue shade, I think, from this palette. This is the Makeup Revolution Eyes Like Angels palette, and let me just swatch it because it's like a bluey purple like duochrome. I understand this is literally the worst swatch in existence and the lighting is really not doing it justice, and literally all I'm gonna do is take that same angled brush we used for the wing liner, go into that shade, like really load up the brush, and just right on the inner corner of that wing, just stamp the colour on there. And because it's gel liner, it has that slight tackiness. That colour is just really gonna pop. So can you see the difference that adding that blue has made? It's just added that tiny little bit of extra interest and just taken the look that step further, that step away from your average everyday neutral cut crease that you've probably seen a billion times before. This is a technique that I do quite a lot, and the thing I love about it is that you don't have to just use this eyeshadow. You could use any colour that you want, any shimmer eyeshadow, and just press it on top of it. So my outfit today is very red. I could choose to use a really red eyeshadow to match it. I think I've done a look like that in my graphic liner video. I'll see if I can find it and leave a link to it. So like if I wanted to match it to this outfit, I could go with the red. You could match it to whatever color your outfit is. You could match it to your hair color, to your eye color. Because the look is so neutral, any color that you add is gonna go and it's not gonna look strange. And like you can see, even now that I have my lashes on, like just poking through the hairs, you could just get that little like glimpse of color, and you could even take it a step further. You could like add glitter there, and I think, oh my god, so many options, and it would just look so amazing, and I could go on this for so many years. I'm just trying to think where it was I first got this idea. I feel like I saw someone else do this similar thing in a YouTube video. Was it? That's what it was. It was Raw Beauty Christy. I think she did a look very similar to this, and then I watched it and like my life was changed, and now I literally do this nearly every single day of my life. So I'll leave a link to her video as well if I can find the one that I think I'm referring to. If it was her, if it wasn't her and I figure out who it is, then I'll leave a link to their video as well. But anyway guys, before I ramble on forever, that is the end of this look. Wow, look at all this. Wow, look at that mess on my hand. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned as much from this one as you did the last one, and I haven't sort of moved forward too much with the cut creasing. I believe in you. I think you could do this. It's not that hard. Cut creases look so difficult, and then you try them and you just sort of practice them a little bit and you're like, actually this isn't so bad, but they still look so effective, and there's so many different things that you can do with a cut crease. So I'm going to continue doing this series. Hopefully you stay tuned and keep watching, and the only way you can do that effectively is by subscribing. So don't forget to do that, because then you're going to miss the next episode and you'll be upset. I won't be the one upset because you'll be the one missing out.